Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We're going to talk about some breaking news vis-a-vis Russia and United States, as well as some other things regarding our friendly neighbor or not so friendly neighbor, Pakistan. Let's welcome 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Namaskar, Ram Ram. How are you?
Jai Siya Ram, Radhe Radhe sir. I'm wishing you, all our team and all our viewers across the world happy Krishna Janmashtami, and let Lord Krishna's blessing shower on us, and let's not forget the Sudarshan Chakra.
Thank you so much. So latest, there is a tweet on Truth Social from President Trump, and he says we're not going to go for ceasefire, we're going to go for complete peace. And he has said that he has had discussions with Zelensky as well as several NATO leaders, and he hopes to have Zelensky see him on Monday morning in the White House. So this is Zelensky 2.0. Maybe he will be treated with better, more kindness this time around. Let's wait and see how that plays out. But beyond that, there is something else that's happening. I just wanted to touch on that because that's like just a few minutes old. And the man really worked hard, that is Donald Trump. On the 19-hour flight from Alaska to DC, he was on the phone all the time, talking to various leaders. Give an A+ for his effort. Give an A+ for his effort. Once in a while, he'll say something that you might not like, but be that as it may. Now, let's go to the main topic today. Op Sindoor shock. Over 100 Pakistani soldiers dead. Sir, it looks a little low to me because, anyway, I think so. You tell me, sir, where are your estimations?
Namaskaram, sir. In the name of Lord Sree Ganesha, let's do the Sree Ganesha's of today's show. Well, the estimations are rocking. The estimations are sensational, and I'll tell you what Pakistanis are hiding. The number which is expected, I'm using the word expected as because we cannot confirm. I'm not Pakistan, you are not Pakistan, and you and me will be failed field marshal. Oh, we don't want to be failed field marshal, Arsimuni. No. We're happy what we are. We have a lot of credibility. We have a lot of people love us and like us. Now the number is 150 plus, sir, and counting, because Pakistan has admitted publicly, ceremonially, that there are 50 people who have been eliminated, 13 soldiers, and rest they say are civilians. Now 13 soldiers, 13, they have been awarded some 𝗔𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗏 Pakistan, or this Urdu mein ek aur word hota hai, 𝗔𝗠𝗘𝗥 Pakistan. The connotation changes completely from 𝗔𝗠𝗘 to 𝗔𝗠𝗘 Pakistan. Now these are the numbers which we have been complete, where they have been kind of been given. 13 have been given, and we know for sure there are more than 150 soldiers which have been eliminated. That is what our estimate shows. Now, for the first time, look what the change is. The Pakistan admitting that the people were killed. Before that, we were told nobody died. We were told, some people here and there died. Indians could only bring down a few trees, and a few pigeon nests were destroyed in the whole process. But if you look at this, there is information out, and there was one Pakistani channel or a publication who put the whole name, who said 150, but they immediately pulled it back. Before they could pull it back, some of our smart friends, and 13 of the army and rest are civilians. Yes, 13 army, rest are civilians out of total 50. Now, if that is what the claim is, now we are seeing that a lot of people have been kind of Pakistan says 50 in all. Now 13 have been given awards. Rest possibly civilians. They have not clarified it officially. Is it army or the civilians or whom? That is what the government has to say. But now we know what we know. What we are learning from the media and what we know. Because with Pakistan, there's always an element of ambiguity. You don't know what they're hiding, what they're saying. We know for sure. There have been claims from the Pakistan media. 155 soldiers are killed. This is the minimum. And I am not counting the people of ISI who were lost. I'm not counting the people of paramilitary forces who were killed. I'm not counting some of those nuclear scientists who were killed. I'm not counting the technicians. I'm not counting the people who are guarding Karana Hills. I'm not counting the people who are guarding Noor Khan Air Base. And there is also a report which indicates Turkish people have been injured, and American technicians in Noor Khan have been injured. There's also a report which confirms. There's also talk in the media which confirms that. So it is not only limited to Pakistani. So The Pakistan government is trying to bring down the numbers. Pakistan government is trying to hide, trying to say, oh, some of them were civilians and all. But we know the numbers. This is what the number looks like. It is so. For the first time, we have seen a change in Pakistani stand, because you see, up to Kargil, she said they will not take out their dead bodies. They will not accept their dead bodies. They say, "Kasab hamara nahi hai." Now, from that stance to this stance, wherein they are accepting their dead. You know why? Because unless and until they don't do it, there would have been a rebellion. Because I've been harping one point across all the platforms I get. Why Pakistan is not giving honor to its dead? Why you are not giving the due honors to a dead soldier? He fought for your country. And incidentally, if you go through the list, there are hardly any officers which they have shown. Mostly they have shown Jawans and the lower ranking people in the army who got killed. Now the question is that if that is the case and so many people got killed, and we have seen a couple of videos wherein they were given those awards and all, and 13 people were given awards posthumously, when after death, that's what I mean. They had passed away and their family, their wives collected the awards. So Pakistan admitting losses, Pakistan admitting the losses were being, Pakistan giving the gallantry awards, because there's a lot of civilian pressure, because we can't be like China where you say nobody died. And on the top of that, you will be surprised to know. And now the name of the award is 𝗔𝗘𝗙𝗪 Pakistan. If I tweak words a bit, it becomes 𝗔𝗘𝗙 Pakistan. 𝗔𝗘 is, that, Hindi mein kya bolu? 𝗔𝗘𝗙 is that, very bad state, or that, utmost 𝗒𝗍𝗍, what we call in Hindi. That is called 𝗔𝗘𝗙 Pakistan. So I don't know what it is for. And you will not believe me if I tell you something. There are reports which claim that failed field marshal has given himself 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗅 is one of the big awards of Pakistan military. It's like our Super Mahavir Chakra or something like that. 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗅 to himself. Field marshal gave himself award 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗅. Now, this man does not only sell dead bodies, does not only sell the blood of the martyrs, but this man is also trying to snatch the awards from this. Now, Pakistan admitting it that Indian operations were decisive, and if we know that for sure we have killed more than 100 terrorists, and if we add the numbers, so at least the kill has been 250, what we can say right now. But my estimates, I've been maintaining my number. My estimates are around 100 and 1,500 people were killed in all. And I'm not counting those Noor Khan technicians, ISI people, paramilitary forces, police. A lot of people, they are not even reporting. A lot of people, they are not even saying. A lot of people, they are not even talking about, because the question we were raising, how many got killed in Noor Khan? Nobody knows. And who are these injured Americans? What were the Americans doing in Noor Khan? Who were these Turkish guys? And we know Chinese technicians were injured. Turkish were injured, but there is a new tailspin, which is that says American technicians were also injured in Noor Khan. So what is the Pakistan's command and control totally controlled by Americans? Where was American calling the shots? That's why, even Biden was very confident Pakistan can never fire a nuclear weapon. That is why the failed field marshal is called to America, because we have been very clear in saying on PGurus channel that there's something which has hit them. They are trying to call him to cover up the tracks. They don't want to be exposed. And another thing which we have been trying to say on PGurus that, which we discussed, that, all this Trump's tariffs and all were supposed to make in India. And when we look what the Prime Minister Modi said yesterday, it made a lot of sense. But that's not the topic of the discussion today. So Pakistan is for the first time admitting we have lost people, and they have lost substantial people. So Operation Sindoor was fantastic. We did not lose any of our people. So far as I know, we have not lost any of our men. Yes, we have some civilian casualties, because these cowards from Pakistan fired at our temples, our gurdwaras, and even the people who were living in Poonch, those innocent people. When you fired at the villages, we have children who are dead, we have women who are dead, we have elderly who are dead, and some of them are even Muslims. So it's not only Hindus who are killed, even Muslims were killed by Pakistani attack in Poonch. So these cowards have been trying to attack, things like Golden Temple, trying to attack civilian areas. But our attacks were very precise, and we have killed a lot of terrorists. We have killed a lot of terrorists. So Pakistan has to really come up with the real picture. Pakistan has to stop, shielding and hiding numbers, because eventually it's a matter of time the numbers will come. We will know where the numbers are. But my estimate, I'll stick my neck out, my personal estimate is 1,500, because even in those two markazes, the main terrorist camps, 500 got eliminated there only, but rest all put together must be more than 1,000. So Pakistani, Fauj, so-called, claiming this debacle, and 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗅 goes to field marshal for what? Hiding in the bunker, doing this and this in the bunker. That is what he was doing. He was hiding in the bunker. He was not even going out of the bunker. He was saying to put all the SMs, put all the tanks so that, the Indians cannot attack here. This is the tyranny of Pakistan. So Indian attacks were direct, Indian attacks were precise. India did the damage which it claimed. India did much more damage than it claimed. Then let me take you back to what the Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday. He said कि अभी Operation Sindoor की और details चौंकाने देने वाली आ रही है. मतलब, if I can translate into English, still we are getting a lot of breaking information and developments. What is the amount and quantum of devastation we did in Pakistan and how successful Operation in Sindoor has been. He said कि we have hit Pakistan beyond your imagination. He told us beyond our imagination, and today Pakistan confirming the numbers is a big revelation. I think Honorable Prime Minister was right when he says we have hit Pakistan beyond the imagination. And there was a time when Pakistan was literally collapsing. The Pakistani military would have ended. The Pakistani military was begging, kneeling and pleading. That is why their DGMO tried to call us again and again, our Minister of External Affairs, then our DGMO said, kindly give us this ceasefire. We want peace. We don't want to have a war with you. And this puts to rest all the claims. Now, if you add to what, Air Chief Marshal Singh Saab said, he said that 6 Pakistani jets by S-400, including the 𝗏𝗏, and half of the hangar of F-16s, then UAVs, then UAVs, and then one big surveillance aircraft. Was it 𝗏𝗏 or some other kind of aircraft? This was also, we destroyed when we attacked the 3 different hangars of Pakistan. So now if you look at the quantum of damage, jets, 𝗏𝗏s, F-22s, 6 major radars, all the 13, 12, 13 runways, Noor Khan, then still I want to, Noor Khan, then your Sargodha runway gone, then you hit something in Kairana Hill, which is big, and what was hit in Noor Khan, Pakistanis will not tell us. But is Kairana Hill leaking or contaminated? Nobody is willing to tell us. But if you look at the quantum of the damage, if you add up everything, it is quite natural that Pakistanis had to come and plead and beg, and they were crying and saying, sir, please do the ceasefire. Now, that puts one more thought to rest. I think rest is better. That Donald Trump did the negotiation and he broke for the ceasefire. Well, obviously Trump had nothing to do with it. So you look at the quantum of the damage, and it happened it happened on the second night when Pakistanis tried to attack us. Then we went back and we hit them hard. Most of this damage happened at that time. The first operation was very much directed to the terrorist camps, wherein we had our mission in place. We were not targeting Pakistani military, but when they tried to retaliate, then when we went back, we dismantled them. So in approximately 22 hours, now let's not count the whole Operation Sindoor, in approximately 22 hours, we got Pakistan to their knees. They were begging, they were cribbing, they were crying, they were pleading. कहते ना खून के आंसू बह रहे थे, sir, please leave us, sir, we can't fight you. And that is what it is. Now, when these ceremonies start happening and all, so Pakistan admitting losses, and at least we are happy with one thing, at least for the dead soldier who fought for you, at least you should honor his death. That is what Pakistan does. That's unlike a Pakistan. It's a change from their military doctrine, because now this time around, their lives were caught. Kargil, they always said this, none of our army guys, this none of our military, but there was a Kargil martyr of Pakistan who was given some special award by Munir after 25 years because he belonged to a Pashtun tribe and he wanted to mend fences with them. That is Munir for you. But here, I believe there's something substantial which has happened. The quantum of damage is much higher. Pakistan is, as usual, trying to dodge the numbers. But things will come up, and India has been very careful with one thing. India doesn't put all the claims one day. You start releasing the numbers slowly. I'm very sure that the quantum of damage is much higher. And there are people who are claiming, oh, this people kind of got this Sama TV, I think the name is Sama TV, right? Sama TV put the list first of these 150 people, then they immediately got it down. But by that time, our friends, had kind of already got a hang of it. They kind of took the screenshots and all. They downloaded what they had to download and they put it. But as a matter of fact, the ceremony was held. As a matter of fact, those gallantry awards were given posthumously, 13 of them. This means that Pakistan has that substantial loss. And it is unlike the claim what Pakistan has been saying, we have no loss. I mean, nothing was lost. Everything is good. Everything is hunky-dory. Well, that is not the claim for sure. And that is not what Pakistan is or was trying to do. Big shame for Munir, big shame for Pakistani leadership, but still these shameless creatures will be trying to go around here and there. The question which we should ask again, and I'm repeating myself, what got hit in Noor Khan? Why is America calling Munir? was the command and control structure controlled by Americans? How many American technicians were kind of injured, or how many American personnel were injured in Nurkhan? There's something which hit, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗀𝗏 and that made really Trump go crazy. So what was in Nurkhan? That is something to be contemplated, but I think there was something substantial there. I've been maintaining my point that there was a command and control base there. I've been maintaining my point there was a transit nuclear weapons hub there. I've been maintaining my point there was American involvement in there. And that when it got hit, that really got the fuses off the Trump's head, and he went crazy and he went coming after us. But the things don't change. India had a fantastic operation. India has done a military operation far beyond excellence. It will go into every military school of the world, because in 22 hours, how do you decimate a country? How do you incapacitate a country? And that too, when you have a joint venture with China, Turkey, Azerbaijan, maybe one or two more countries which we are not willing to talk right now, the government. But in due course of time, we will talk. I think, and our loss has been zero. We have been able to beat the enemy black and blue. We have dismantled that aura, and that is what the Prime Minister said yesterday. Come on, don't give me this nuclear bomb. I've been telling you what you're worth of. When you Munir, you said, I have 10 missiles, 10 missiles in my paas. If you had this missile, we know what your power in, we know what the power of your missiles was in Operation Sindoor. Now, the numbers which are coming out, the jets fallen and all. Now, I have one more question. Don't you think today Rahul Gandhi should go and compliment the Indian Army? Don't you think Rahul Gandhi should at least tweet and say Indian Army did a fantastic job, rather than saying 𝗏𝗏𝗏 dead economy? Now, this Pakistani alignment and agenda gets exposed with Congress any point of time. But our topic is not Congress. I just wanted to bring in Rahul Gandhi, and I expected him to apologize to the nation for all the Pakistani lies which he has been trying to kind of, propel in Indian media. And all those Indian media outlets who said that 5 Indian jets were lost, will those editors come and apologize today? Don't you think they should owe an unconditional apology to the nation? Don't you think these people who question the Indian Army should have an unconditional apology to the nation? Because Indian Army, Indian forces could do something which is beyond your imagination. And let me take you back to what Commander Pramod sir said. He said, Indian Navy knew what to do. Pakistan knew what Indian Navy could do. And if we were given the instructions, we'll break up Pakistan into 4. And we hold that capability of doing it today. After so many debacles, does Pakistan stand? Is Trump trying to hide how many F-22s and how many Lockheed Martin equipment was lost? Are you trying to hide that you want nuclear command and control structure under Nurkhan Air Base is destroyed? Are you trying to hide that your transition weapons are destroyed? Or are some of the F-21s, sorry, F-16s. If this is a slip of tongue, maybe I said F-22s is F-16s. Sorry, I apologize for that. It's the spur of the moment. So how many F-16s were destroyed? So is there something which is very special inside or under Nurkhan's runway, which was not only controlled by Americans, but Americans were also using it as a storehouse? Now, this brings to a pertinent question. Were Americans storing some of their strategic or tactical nukes unauthorizedly in a military base of America, in a Pakistan, which was run by Americans, but had a camouflage of a Pakistani base, and it was next to Nurkhan. Nurkhan is next to Rawalpindi, with the patronage, protection, and permission from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. This is the question which Americans should answer. This is the question which Pakistani should answer. This is the question which United Nations should answer. This is the question which IAEA should answer. And this is the question which Pakistan's people have a right to know, because American base, no base, this base, that base, we still went in and did what we were supposed to do. We kind of destroyed your F-16s. We destroyed your radars. We destroyed whatever was there. I don't know how big or tall it was. Jacobabad as well. Arey, bhaiya, 3 the. F-16s were in Jacobabad. Then there were in all, we destroyed the 3 hangars. Jacobabad, there were 2 more which we destroyed. So Bulleri and Surai, which I can't pronounce correctly. So these were the 3 hangars which we destroyed. So when we destroyed everything, so what has the America got to say with this? So will the United Nations still keep a close eye? Where is NATO on this? Or we don't know. What are you trying to hide? Where is the America on this? Where is the United Nations on this? I demand IAEA either come and validate all the Pakistani nukes and their nuclear sites are not leaking or contaminated, because you are putting the whole South Asia in a threat. You have to go and validate that. IAEA, United Nations has to go in and validate that, because we know there were radiation sniffers there. We know boron was, split over those sites. We know there was a lot of activity going on. So what the hell is United Nations doing? Where is United Nations on this? Where is IEA on this? Where is Rafael Grossi on this? He should go and tell us what the hell is wrong in Pakistan. Because we don't want the Pakistan's Kirana to be the next Chernobyl of the world, and one day we discover it's already leaking or contaminated. Because what has been done to Pakistan is far beyond imagination, is far beyond words, and is far beyond what I can comprehend in a 20-minute talk. It is worst. It is worst nightmare of Pakistan coming true. The important onus is now for the international people to tell us how much of Pakistan got whacked and what did we achieve. I'm proud of Indian Army. I'm proud of Indian military. I'm proud of Indian military. And let me repeat what the Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday. The military has the right to choose a target, decide the target, decide which measures, measure, Air Force, Navy, Army, what method to use, and go and destroy and dismantle the target at the place and time of their choosing, and Operation Sindoor continues. So this is a very important. No, not hands tied, Rahul Gandhi. Nobody's hands were tied. You said Indian Air Force and hands tied there. No, they were not tied. You are absolutely wrong, and you owe an apology to the nation. That is what you should do, because your Pakistan pyar is so visibly visible now. Sir, you were saying something.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, the American plane that looks for radiation was up almost immediately after the Kirana Hills and 𝗥𝗘𝗿 hit. America should disclose what they found, because they did find something. Otherwise, why would you fly out an aircraft full of boron all the way from Egypt?
Correct. Boron is used to contain radiation.
So there is something that the United States is also hiding. 𝗪𝗠𝗍, you are saying that US personnel were injured. Why should they be only injured? Why should they not also be killed? They could be killed too, isn't it?
That is, we know now there are reports which are out in the media. Because, sir, it is very difficult for us to, kind of say they were killed. But they have out of reports out in the media which said they were injured, and possibly some of them could have been killed. Maybe some of them could have succumbed to their injuries. It might have happened at a later date. There's something which there's something which really upset his views. And it was Noor Khan airbase. There was nothing more than that. He was not bothered about Karan, honestly. It was Noor Khan where he was went. So possibility of Americans get killed can't be ruled out, but we cannot confirm or claim that. But if there are enough reports in the media that they were injured, so even some people got killed, and that's what America is hiding. And that is what America is hiding from its citizens, is hiding from the world, and it's hiding from us also. If some Americans were killed, they should be very clear and direct about it. They should talk about it. They should admit it. Yes, some Americans got killed in the action, but then America's involvement with Pakistan would be hand in glove. And that is what Trump is now really getting crazy about. That's why he's talking of tariff, no tariff, counter tariff, ye tariff, wo tariff, and all that. I mean, that's besides the point. But there are now enough speculations. What was America's direct role in supporting Pakistan before, during, or after Operation Sindoor? Now, these questions will be asked. They're genuine questions.
Thank you so much. Now, let's move on to the second topic, which is the much wanted talk of trying to end the Russia-Ukraine war. What I'm showing you in front of me, or in front of you, is the latest situation. This is an interactive map, so it's updated as of the last few hours. And you see the darker shades inside Ukraine. That is the line that Russia is holding. Now, the interesting thing here is Russia has not only got 70%, probably 65 to 70% of the Donbas region, that is Donetsk and Luhansk. They've also got a substantial portion in the other states like Zaporizhia. See, what has happened is, because they have control for that, to Crimea, there are two ways to get there. One is a bridge over the ocean. The other is a land bridge. Now they have the land bridge, which allows them much more control to Crimea. So given this situation, what is it that Putin might be willing to concede, and what is it that Zelensky might be willing to concede on behalf of Ukraine? That's what we are going to be seeing. And the talk did take place. Like I said in the very beginning, Trump did call out a lot of people. There's a meeting scheduled with Zelensky on Monday. This is a harder part, because if you look at all these regions, right, if Zelensky had stopped after 1 month, they would have only lost these top two here. Are you able to see my mouse?
Yeah. I am.
These two. They would have only lost these two, and they didn't progress so much further. and that would have been much lesser loss than compared to what they are facing now. Zaporizhzhia is very important. That city is very important because it has a nuclear power station that supplies power to practically 1 in 3 households and 1 in 3 industries in Ukraine. That's a huge deal. So I don't see Zelensky willing to part with that, but will Putin part with it? So that is a big question. So with this, I'm going to leave the floor to you, yield the floor to you, 𝗤𝗎.
Sure.
Expectations were high when this meeting took place. Everybody said something. There's a funny thing about Trump not being able to walk in a straight line. They showed him walking left and then right. What is happening? He's not even able to walk straight. A lot of stuff. I don't know if it was the time-lapse photography or what. I don't think he could have walked that bad, but be that as it may. 𝗤𝗎, in maybe next 10 minutes, you can explain to us what you think is going to happen. Tangent or tactics?
Sir, if you look at the whole meeting, let's start at a conceptual level. Look, meeting happened when Trump was running out of all the options. He said, I want to meet Vladimir Putin. They said, okay. Then finally, why Alaska, we discussed that on PGurus. Now, finally, we were all waiting. Last night was a big night for us. And today morning, we're waiting what is the outcome. The meeting lasted for 3 hours. And Trump greeted him, welcomed him, all the ceremonial things happened. And by the way, there was also a small video wherein Putin talks in English. For the first time I heard him talking English. So he can talk English.
Oh, he knows many languages, many European languages. He was heading the foreign bureau in, I think, Germany or someplace like that.
His German is
called up.
His German is fluent. He can be as good as a German. Though Putin can speak and understand English, but he always pretends not to do it. For the first time, Putin is speaking in English, which is a kind of a thing. Now the meeting lasted for 3 hours. Now after the meeting, what happened that President Trump and Putin, they have a kind of a joint briefing to the press. They did not take any questions. There were a lot of reporters, and we could also see Putin shouting something like this. That was the fun part of it. Now, according to the Russians and according to the Americans, President Trump says the meeting was very fruitful. There are a lot of things we agree. There are a lot of things we don't agree. There are a lot of things which are discussed. There are some things which we need to be discussed. But logically speaking, if the meeting went for 3 hours, there must be some things which were discussed, agreed, not agreed, or contemplated. So he says it's a productive meeting, but there is no deal until the time there's a deal. This is what the Trump concludes. Russians say we had a productive meeting with President Trump, and we thank you very much for doing that. And when President Trump was speaking, he said, Vladimir, Mr. President Putin and Vladimir will be looking forward to see you soon. Then the Putin says, next time in Moscow. They say, Trump says, oh, that's interesting one. We can look into that. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no. He said, that's an interesting one. So now after that, when the Putin and Trump kind of part their ways, now Trump said on that day, in his press briefing, look, I'm going to talk to NATO. I'm going to talk to President Zelensky, and I'm going to talk to the European leaders. I'm going to talk to anybody and everybody who matters in this game. Now, Putin had one piece of warning. He says, there is productivity meeting. There's a productive meeting. We had some progress, but I am sure and I hope the Europeans don't put a spanner. He warned the leaders of the Europe not to put a spanner in this because Putin fears that the Europe will put a spanner. And to all the efforts of President Trump, to all the people has been trying to talk about, and today the Europe has already put a spanner. Now what happened is Europe, if we look at Britain, if we look at Germany, if we look at Macron, and if we look at Ursula von der Leyen, they have signed a joint declaration kind of. They said, look, Zelensky has to be present when Ukraine is decided, the fate of Ukraine is decided. That's point number one. Ukraine has a right to be a part of any organization or any grouping. Nobody can dictate terms to Ukraine. Point number two. Ukraine has a right to join or not join NATO. Point number three. This is a very contagious point. Point number four. It is believed that President Trump offered Zelensky something like a NATO cover, but not NATO, which some people claim, again, it's a media report, that some people claim that this offer was rejected by Zelensky. So if you look at three contagious points, now, okay, Zelensky is a part of meeting, still acceptable. Now, he can be a part of any formation, problematic. He can join NATO. That option has to be kept open. And Zelensky has been saying before the big tweet he put a couple of hours back, I need my security guarantees, I need this, I'll not trade off land, I'll not do all this. But the land deal has to happen, the land trade-off has to happen. There is no option because Zelensky is not winning this war. After that, Zelensky had a meeting with President Trump. The meeting lasted for half an hour before they got all the other European leaders into it. The meeting between President Trump, President Zelensky and the European leaders lasted for 1.5 hours. Because before leaving the dais, President Trump was very clear. It is up to the Zelensky and the Europeans, how do they want to take it from here. Now, what happened in that meeting is they are talking of a trilateral meeting that is between Putin, Trump and Zelensky. And then there's an interesting piece which came in Fox News. I mean, the reporter asks, the Trump says to the reporter, no, it's up to Vladimir and Zelensky to kind of, Vladimir Zelensky and Vladimir Putin to have a meeting. And the reporter asks him, sir, do you trust them to be in one single room? Because that is the level of animosity. That is the fun part of it. Now, after that, when the call happened between President Trump, Zelensky, then after half an hour, they got the European people on the telephone. So it's a kind of virtual meeting or a video conference or whatever. That details are not out, but it is a virtual meeting, we know for sure. There, something was decided, something was agreed. A trilateral meeting was agreed between Putin, Trump, and Zelensky. But there's a story here. Now, while we know this has happened, and Zelensky is going to go to White House on Monday to meet Donald Trump, and where Trump is trying his best to do. Trump wanted that this trilateral to happen as soon as, and suddenly Trump wanted, well, let's not target ceasefire, let's target a complete peace deal, which is logical, which I agree, because ceasefires are very fragile, they can break any day. Let's target a complete peace deal. But in the meanwhile, there's a change from the Russian side. The Russian side says, Zelensky can come for the meeting, no problem. We can meet Zelensky, still possible. They said it's a possibility. But Zelensky is not the person who can sign the peace deal. Why? Because we believe Zelensky runs an illegitimate government. He doesn't represent Ukraine. He is nobody to represent Ukraine because his government was over in 2024 May. After that, he's illegally occupying the power. He doesn't have legitimacy given by the Ukrainian constitution to sign any deal. So how can we cut a deal with a person who doesn't have the power to cut a deal? Even if I cut a deal with him, if I sign an agreement with him, what is the validity of that agreement? Because logically, that agreement will not hold ground. That is what the Russians have to say. So they have started hitting and harping on one point. Zelensky can come, he can be a part, he can even talk, but he cannot sign anything. Now the question is, if Zelensky cannot sign anything, who is going to sign on the behalf of Zelensky? And the people of Ukraine believe that we are very near to the peace. In Moscow, I was on a TV debate half an hour back. There were a couple of guys from Moscow, Russians, which were on the channel, and they were saying that in Moscow we don't have much of hopes. We are okay. Moscow is doing fine. Moscow is a much better position. Moscow can fight a few more days or weeks or months. We have no problem. But can Zelensky hold the fort? The reason is Zelensky doesn't seem to hold the fort, and what they also are expecting Donald Trump to do. I'm talking about that. When you come here, you must visit a Russian Orthodox church and pray. That will cement our friendship and brotherhood between Americans and Russia. And even Trump talked about normalizing the relations. And even there's a talk of lifting sanctions or removing that. The US Treasury Secretary is talking of lifting or reducing the sanctions. And by the way, Trump is also talking of, I may not have secondary tariffs on the people buying Russian oil, which includes people like India. They might not have. But he says, I have not decided yet because, secondary tariffs which are imposed on India will come into picture, she said, on 27th August. So we have still good 10, 11 days to go. He says, I have not decided now, but I might decide in a few weeks. I may decide, I may not decide. I may decide to take them out. So, Trump is already kind of giving an indication the secondary tariffs may not be applicable. And I always predicted that is not going to work out, because if you want to have a deal with Russia, you can't kind of stop the money going into Russia. I think a lot of things which were discussed and agreed, some things might not be told. And I think even the issue of that attacking the shadow fleet by NATO or the ghost fleet of Russia by NATO, that would be taken out. And again, that, INF walking out of the missile treaty, they'll be discussed. Deploying missiles in Belarus will be discussed. And let's not forget the deal was brokered by the president of Belarus, not by the usual guys in Qatar and Middle East and Canada and all that. Now everything depends on what do the Zelensky's masters give him the rope to. A lot of people believe, what I agree with them, that outcome of the meeting will be determined by what do the people in Europe want. That is Macron, that is Keir Starmer, and that is European Union Council Chairman Ursula von der Leyen. How do they want? How do they see the threat, and how do they want this war to be played? While as J.D. Vance is very clear, look, I'm not going to give you any money, Mr. Zelensky. I don't want to give you American taxpayers money, but if you still want to come and buy from the American military industry the arms, American military industry will sell the arms to you. But American taxpayers money, American treasury money will not be used to fund your war. So if I'm Vladimir Zelensky, my funding, my things are drying up. And there's already a contemplation which people are looking at. How will a NATO look minus America? And my assessment, which a lot of people I have seen agree to it, and if you put complete military might of NATO minus America behind Zelensky, still cannot defeat Russia. That is a given. You cannot defeat Russia. So in the game, you have to concede territory. Yes, you cannot join NATO, but some kind of military guarantees will be given to you. And what will those guarantees? That is something to be kind of negotiated. That's something to be given, which will also include which will also include, in my opinion, giving hero's exit to Zelensky, because that would be also some part of the deal. Because I believe after this, Zelensky cannot run Ukraine, and new regime has to be input. And let's not forget those auditors which America has already sent in, and they're trying to find out what happened to the money which was sent in, because 50% of the money sent to Ukraine has disappeared. That is what even Donald Trump said. So, it will be something which we'll be wondering to see, because there are already some conflicting reports coming in, and what will be the next quantum and the level of Russian attack on Ukraine. That will tell you what the Putin's intention. Now, Zelensky is saying Putin will befool you. Putin doesn't want peace. He wants a military win, which I agree. Putin may not befool Trump, but Putin wants a military win, which I agree that part. But how long can Zelensky hold with his cards? What will be the Europe's role? Will it try to bring peace, or will it be a spoiler? And let's not forget, the First World War happened because there are some people in Europe who got ambitious with everything, and the First World War happened. So is Europe again getting into that role? That is something to be contemplated. You were saying something, sir. Then I will continue.
Yes. So what happens if Zelensky is not the legitimate representative on part of Ukraine? So it's according to the Ukraine constitution, the parliament can be extended. And at this point of time, the parliament members can take a vote, and the speaker is the person who is authorized to sign on behalf of the parliament. So that's another alternative that could very well be thrown up, because if you want to do it right, you need to do it by the constitution, not by extra constitutional means. So that's something that is also available. So let's wait and see how that goes. So Zelensky may not be able to say yes or no on Monday. He may say, I need to take it back to the parliament and run it by there, have them ratify it. Usual things, right? Ratify it and so on and so forth. These things will happen. So let's wait and see. But if you could just conclude now, then we can take some questions.
Sure. The fact remains that what you rightly said, the 70% of the mineral wealth is with Putin, the area he controls. 22% by scale is the area which is controlled by Putin. And Putin is increasing his percentage by a few points every day. The people of Ukraine are tired with the war. I think the things in Moscow look to be quite okay. Moscow is not as devastated as Kyiv. And I think if the Europe does not want to push a world to a world war, I think this will be ideal for them, and the territory has to be swept. Look, this war is not going to end as a friendly ceasefire. No, there is a cost which Zelensky and Ukraine has to pay. What you rightly pointed out, if he would have stopped after a month, he would have lost this much. Now he's losing this much. And the person who is responsible for this loss is Vladimir Zelensky only, and his crazy ideas. You cannot fight war on begged weapons, on borrowed weapons and borrowed money. That is what he has to understand. And sir, you look at the quantum of money which will be required to rebuild Ukraine. I think the world should look at the opportunity there. I mean, we have done enough of destroying of Ukraine, enough of killing of people, but where is the opportunity in rebuilding the Ukraine? There will be hundreds of multi-billion dollars contracts which can come out of Ukraine, and Ukraine has minerals. So let's look at building the Ukraine. Let's not look at the whims and fancies of this man. I think there's one caveat they're using. Zelensky sign here, or you are illegitimate or not responsible to sign. We'll find somebody else who can sign the paper. Because, you know, Trump putting everything on Zelensky, NATO, and the Europeans, and Putin coming in and saying, "Hey, you cannot sign, huh? How can you sign? You're not the person, right?" It's a tango that is working. So that it's a tango that is working. The tangent is what they're trying to open by getting over, and the tactics are delay, drag, drop, debt. That is what they're trying to do. Delay, drag, and drop. That is what Zelensky will try to do. Trump is putting his lot of energy. Trump has at least got things moving, and Russians are very happy. Did you see Putin's body language? He was very happy. Now you will ask me, why was he happy? He didn't achieve anything. Sir, Putin is back to the international diplomacy. You had made Putin a pariah. You had made Russia a pariah. Now Putin is back. He's in the forefront. Now everything revolves around Vladimir Putin. So that Putin who was called the butcher, who was outcast, who was thrown out of the society or the game of things. Now Putin is back. Everything is revolving around Putin, and Putin is telling Trump, sir, next time please come to Moscow, sir. We'll be happy to host you. And say, Trump could not say no. So look how Russians have made a comeback. So 25,000 sanctions, all the animosity he had against them, all your missiles and all could not bring him down. What you end up doing is, I think they have to trade off Zelensky and they have to trade off land. That is what is going to happen. Putin is back. And what happened to the ICJ warrant and all crap, right? It doesn't matter. So Putin is back. Trump is already talking of rolling back these secondary tariffs. And they will put a lot of pressure on Europe and Zelensky now. So if somebody from the quadri, the 3 of the Europe, 4 of the Europe, if 1 or 2 people break away, I think we will have a deal. If Europe sticks to it, then then it will we can end up a situation where the military conflict somewhere down the line, today, tomorrow, somewhere down the line might escalate into Europe. Eventual casualty will be Poland and the countries which are very near to the Russia. And even if the deal is cut, I can predict you one thing today. NATO will have to leave the peripheral countries of Russia for good. The peripheral countries of Russia would have borders with Russia, and a part of NATO might want to leave the NATO. But where does that leave NATO? Trump is not happy with NATO. Trump wants you to put 5% of the GDP. General Ruth says will take us years to match Russian weapons. So in that context, how relevant is NATO? That is something which NATO has to contemplate. And there's already a talk. There was a talk in the German media which I talked that Russia will try to test the Charter 5 of the NATO. So is it Europe plus America plus NATO? Is it America, NATO and Europe? Is it NATO plus Europe minus America? These are the 3 possible equations which will shape up in due course of time. And Trump is not a great fan of NATO. And if Trump walks out of the NATO, if America walks out of NATO, and Russia, and by the way, Zelensky, you're not getting any weapons, you're not getting intel. So what exactly do you want to do? That is something which has to be seen. And one other thing, we're watching the Trump's body language carefully. This time he was not trying to be the big boy. He was not trying to bully Putin. He was not trying to give him orders, because that would have been clearly told him, look, that will upset the apple cart and that will be a no-go from the initial meeting. But the only good part, what I see, the meeting lasted for 3 hours. And we know Donald Trump is a hell of a negotiator. He's good at talking. He's hell at negotiating. So if it lasted for 3 hours, something hopeful might be brewing. It will depend on the leaders of Europe and NATO. Do they want the seed to germinate and to become a tree, or do they want to kill the seed itself? The onus lies on them. It is not Vladimir Zelensky. It's Europe and NATO which will decide.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take a few questions now.
Yes, sir.
Venkat wants to know, would it be right to say that round 1 went to Putin?
Yeah, it went to Putin because Putin is back in the international circle. He was a pariah, he was outcast, thrown out, baat mat karo. Now he's the shock. Big boy, right? I mean, for Russians.
Yeah.
I mean,
next one, please. Srinivas Iyer wants to know, how come most of the names starting with Muhammad? Again, today failed Field Marshal ranting against Bharat from foreign soil, Brussels. What is he doing there at the NATO city? Thank you.
Field Marshal is trying to project himself as the most powerful leader of Pakistan. There will be a time he will take as the president of Pakistan. There might be a coup, but when there is a coup, there will be Pressler amendments. But Donald Trump has the right to oversee Pressler or to negate Pressler amendments. So it is the positioning of the failed Field Marshal with this. And Muhammad is the most common name in the whole world, because a lot of people have this name with Muhammad. It's the most common name, by the way, in the whole world. And Pakistanis got whacked. Pakistanis got killed. They got mercilessly slaughtered, I would say. And they never expected what is falling from the sky. And that looks how ill-prepared that army is. This looks at the morale of the army. Look, army has a very bad morale. These guys don't have, bullets. They don't have ration. They don't get a salary. No, things are pretty bad with Pakistan. I pity them. Poor souls. And God knows how many got killed. We only know how. 155 right now. We're counting. I have a calculator. If you want to see. Look. For that, I have kept a. Oh, where is it? My God. 𝗪𝗏, I have kept a calculator. You see, I don't want to go wrong on this. So for when the Pakistani casualties, I make sure I add 13 plus 12 plus 11, then check. Tick. I don't trust my phone for that because I want to make sure the numbers are very error.
Next question from Krishna Kishore. I'm not sure what this 4390 kilometers is. Looks like the distance a missile can go. It's a weird number and it feels artificially reduced or controlled for the missile test. Who is targeted for US or China or both? Kiska hai? Is it ours? Is it India's?
I think if you're referring to the Indian missile test, this is that missile. Kaun sa sari? It was a 6. It has a Sachin bhai. What is that? It's a 6. It slipped. It was here. It just went off. There's a missile which is a satellite launched ballistic missile, which can I think if that is what you are mentioning, we can launch it from a class 5 or class 6 𝗟𝗡𝗏. 𝗟𝗡𝗏 is under testing. Possibly you can launch it from 𝗟𝗡𝗏, and we don't have a class 6 submarine right now, but from class 5 this possibly can be launched. But this is an intercontinental ballistic submarine launched missile which can carry nuclear warheads and non-nuclear warheads, and it can go up to the borders of United States of America. It can hit up to east coast of America. Basically, the message is to send to the Middle East and to Istanbul that we are under control. The name of the missile is some 6. I'm not able to recollect the name. That is a testing which was on the cards, if you are referring to that.
Agni 6.
No, Agni 6 nahi hai, sir. Aur koi hai.
Okay. Next question from Raja Raman. Sumitji, is it true our government and army worked to decimate Pakistan when sleeping on Trump's laps? Are NSA and EA working day and night for this? Trump will wash off his hands then?
I could not get the question. Did you understand?
No, I think what he is trying to say is that if India goes back and resumes Op Sindoor and go and decimate whatever is there, then will Trump wash his hands off of Pakistan?
Of course. You have the answer. He said, I don't know. He today said literally it's up to Zelensky and the Europe. What can I do beyond that? So if Pakistan look, in geopolitics, sir, or in politics, nobody puts money on a lame horse. Langde ghode pe koi paisa nahi lagata. You have to be able to deliver. Unfortunately, if you look at Munir, fortunately for us, unfortunately for him, he has not been able to deliver anything substantial. So, minus these small jihadi attacks and trying to kill innocent people in 𝗟𝗏𝗏, where we killed a lot of their people. So, beyond that, he has not been able. If I do a plus minus of today, I think maybe the number is more than 2,000. If we killed 26 of ours, we killed 2,000 of his. Right? 155 at least his army men in uniform. So, I always said 𝗥𝗙𝗀. I mean, that is a number which looks to be coming. We have been demanding very directly. We want one 𝗥𝗙𝗀, what 100 in place of 1. I think God's grace, one day will even come to know that is the number. So it's a very costly proportion for Pakistan. And how much? $14-15 billion of damages to a failing economy, which has hardly $1 billion in the bank. I mean, that is Pakistan. So Trump will wash face because they will not be bothered.
Krishna Kishore again. What's your analysis on Trump's backing of additional tariffs on Russian oil buyers? Does it mean he walked back on India? This question is for me. Let me try and answer this. Kishore, I put out yesterday morning, if I remember correctly, a complete analysis of how much oil and other products, energy products, Russia shipped since the war started. And it shows that India is in teens maximum. How much India has bought from Russia during this period. So it's not India that's the cause. It's somebody else. I'm sure somebody in the Department of State watched it and probably might have trickled its way up to the top. So who knows? We do our little bit to try and educate everybody. So if you have not watched that video, do watch it. It starts with explosive or exclusive or explosive, something like that. Next one, please. Somnath Bose wants to know, sir, don't you think that it would be too much to ask a white-skinned foreign origin family to compliment the Indian army for their success?
We don't need any compliments, sir. Why do we need? We as 1.4 billion Indians were confident of our army. Our heart and mind and our blood speaks of their valor. We don't need anybody's endorsement. If you carefully look at what the Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday, that Gulami has to be taken out from the last thing. We don't need anybody's endorsement. I am confident about my army. You are confident about. We all are. And that is what matters. I believe my country is safe because of my army. It's not what Trump thinks or believes. He can think or believe anything. Or Keir Starmer or Macron, they can think, believe, assume, presume, believe anything. You and my life and family is safe because our army is keeping us safe. That's the reality of on our dharatal, on our soil. And that's what matters, sir.
Next one, please. Thank you, Rishi Patel. Jai Sri Krishna. Don't you think that if Pakistan's crossed the line, then Munia should be the first guy to be sent to DTH?
Wow, you have picked the two slangs. Thank you, Patel sir. One is Munia, one is DTH. Yes, sir, invention and invention. Munia is the short form for Munir and DTH is direct to Woods. I have been very categorically stating all the national security threats vis-a-vis man, machine, with or without uniform need to be accounted for. And I believe this is a Osama bin Laden in uniform. I believe this man is a rabid jihadi. And if you are watching me for years, when he got to the position, I told you this very different about this man. Head of ISI, head of military intelligence, now head of Pakistani army. With this, he's the man who promotes himself to field marshal, and he's the man he gives himself the award, 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪 𝗔𝗠𝗏. Now this man is a megalomaniac. Is a narcissist, is crazy, and for the supreme national interest, such people can be dangerous and must be eventually dealt with.
Next one, please. Nilakantan Naresh wants to know, Namaskarams, what about Belarus as well? A critical spot for Russia. Your view, Sirji?
Belarus is very important for Russia, sir, because they have been very loyal to Russia. And even after they walked out of the INF, the first country where they deployed the missiles were in Belarus. And Putin said, I'm not going to stop at Belarus. I might go to some other countries. And there's a Belarus president who kind of brokered this deal. It's not the Europeans, it's not the Middle East, it's not 𝗖𝗎𝗏 Erdogan for a change, God forbid, thankfully. And it is the Belarusian president who brokered the deal. So it's very important ally for Russia. They will always string with Russia. If you look, if Putin gets this 22% of the area, Putin is a very strong man of this region who emerges back again. And I think a lot of people say after Lenin and all, if somebody is kind of really emerged so powerful, is Vladimir Putin in the recent times. Because he's the only one who has taken and added land to, Russia. Traditionally, USSR broke, the land had gone away. He's a person who's adding land and he's standing up to the entirely whole of West and NATO put together. That really cements his position. Today, if you are in Poland, Trump might say me anything. Anybody might say me anything. General Ruth might come and assure me in my drawing room. But I am worried. Hey, you are too far away. This man is next door. So what will I do? I also, if I'm not Zelensky, I'll also want to patch up with Putin and see how we can live together.
Next one, Venkatesh wants to know, dear Sumit sir, the questions about Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge not attending the Red Fort function yesterday is not answered by the Congress party.
I'll tell you why, because these people don't think this is an important event. These people still think they own the India. People like you and me think it is our Independence Day. They're cursing this day because we used to be under Raj and they were the agents of the Raj. So they were they were practically the feudal lords of India. Now the feudal lords of India had to go through election. Rahul Gandhi has to come in a kurta and 48 degrees and say, "Mujhe vote do." They don't like this system. Anything which talks of nationalism, anything that talks of unifying India, anything that talks of Hindu or Sanatani pride, you will find none of the Congress chaps there. It's a given, sir. Why didn't they go to Ram Mandir? What was their problem? Though Rahul Gandhi claims is a 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, Kol, Kashmiri Pandit, Brahman, Jenu, Rudrakshi, Mala, Trebund, everything when there's an election. But why didn't he still go to Ayodhya ji? What is his problem? You know what is the problem.
Milban Sherian wants to know, do you think that Ursula von der Leyen is a spoke in Russia and peace plans?
Yeah, she is. Because, fundamentally, she has some strong affinity for China. That's the reason. And China does not want America and Russia to be at peace. China does not want American and Ukrainian-Russian conflict to end. So, if this ends, Taiwan Straits becomes very tricky for China. And China can never get Taiwan. So they will want this to continue. And even they would want a conflict between America and Iran to flare up if possible. So if this issue by anyhow settles, you'll very soon see Iran and American things flare up. And by the way, I think Iran-Israel war is going to start pretty soon. That is my prediction. Within a few weeks maximum.
Muthukumar wants to know, PGurus, is there any chance of Bharat getting its act together before 2047? I mean, is there any chance of getting our targets achieved even before 2047? It's very likely, of course.
Most probably. You look at the clean energy targets, sir. Clean energy, we were supposed to achieve this number by 2030. We achieved in 2025. Look at how much of solar energy, 30 times. When we did that 𝗠𝗎𝗏 alliance, Rahul Gandhi was making a lot of Now it has gone up 30 times. I mean, it's not a joke. I mean, if you look at those nuclear reactors, 10 nuclear reactors which have been built, if you look at those dams which have been built, if you look at the ethanol blending, which is almost 20%, right? So kind of, that kind of talks about a lot. That talks about we are ahead of the game. And what did United States of America do? They walked out of the Paris Accord. They walked out of the Paris Accord. We are not only holding what we had said, we are doing much better than what we had said. And we have a plan in place, sir. So I think this should be kind of well within reach.
Thank you so much, Sumit-ji. And that brings us to a close of today's program. Now let's take the Ashirwad of Mahadev.
My friends, brothers and sisters, we try our best to bring the best and the fastest to you. So what we need from you is a like, share and subscribe. Your like matters a lot because in the world of YouTube, that is how the things are run. And your like really, really matters. And your sharing, subscribing, pressing the bell icon really helps. And I'm very sure you're going to do it and you're not going to let us down. On that note, Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, Om Namah Parvati Pataya, Har 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 Mahadev.